Welcome back to the Strato Automation technical channel. In this video, I'll be showing you how to configure your BW437 loaded with the fan coil unit firmware using the stat interface here. So these 4 buttons in the display to set it up right out of the box. Whether you're using it on a network with multiple other controllers, on your BACnet network, or if this is just a standalone fan coil unit with no other integration. So to start, I have powered the controller using 24 volts AC. I haven't hooked up any of my wires yet, as that'll depend on the setup I'm using here. So just 24 volts AC going to the controller right now, fresh out of the box, fresh firmware, no configuration loaded, anything like that. So first I'm going to put it into setup mode here. So I'm going to hold the square and the enter button here. It's going to ask me to enter a pin. To go into setup mode, I'll do up, up, up. The first thing it's going to ask me are the number of pipes. So the options are 2-pipe, 4-pipe. Next, it'll go into the valve control motor type. So I can set either on, off, or floating, depending on what or how I want those controlled. Next will be my control sequence of operation here. So the options are, let's see, this is cooling, heating, cooling with reheat, heating with auxiliary reheat, cool heat, and cool heat reheat. Next, it'll ask me to choose my fan control type. So my options are on auto, low, medium, high, low, high, low, medium, high auto, and low, high auto. My reheat type, so if I'm using a baseboard or a coil, I'll just select that here. Next is my auxiliary configuration. So my options are, let's go through, start. The first option, reheat, occupancy normally open, occupancy normally closed, fan normally open, fan normally closed, and network. Next, I can configure my analog inputs for various sensor types. So my options for analog input 1 are none, remote NSB, motion normally open, motion normally closed, and window switch. For analog input 2, I have none, remote door switch, the override for occupancy, a filter alarm, and a service alarm. So I'll choose whatever one of those I want. Then for analog input 3, my options are none, changeover contact for 2-pipe for normally heat, changeover contact for normally cool, again for 2-pipe, my changeover sensor here for a 2-pipe system, and finally remote monitoring for supply. Then I'll choose my units, imperial or metric. I can calibrate my room temperature and give it an offset if I'd like. And then when I'm done and I've set everything up, I can go ahead and enter on quit, and it'll start running that program that I set up. Now, if these are going to be part of a bigger network and you'd like all these controllers to work with your front end, or however you're going to deploy these, you have to give it an address and set up the instance and everything like that. So to do that, once again, I'll hold these 2 buttons on the left. It'll ask me for a pin. I'll go square, square, up. That'll enter config mode. Here I can set the address. So here I've set the address as 13, but if I hit enter and go in here, I can change the address however I like. Go ahead and set it. It'll set it as 15 instance. And set that however I like, again by hitting enter and changing it. Just leave it like it was. And I'm using this top left button here to cycle through. I can change my network, my baud rate, my max frame, and my max master. And I'll go ahead and save that. The device will reset and then reboot using those configuration changes I made. And once it's rebooted, you should be off to the races with the information that you set previously. So this has been how to set up your Backwall 437 fan coil unit using the buttons in the display. Feel free to check out some of our other videos for other ways to configure these things and more, in-depth setups outside of using the displays, whether it's software, things like that. As always, thank you for watching and have a great day.